Hey guys, today's story is about a really cheap player. In order for this story to make sense, I will have to start from the beginning. I will change some names in order to protect the identities of the people that I've been lucky enough to call my D&D group for the past 16 years. I've been a DM for this group ever since 2004, and we've had many funny adventures together. We started out with 3rd edition, then we moved on to 3.5. We briefly touched upon 4, at which point we reverted back to 3.5. And now we have since moved on to 5e, and we're loving it. Mainly what we've been doing is homebrew campaigns, but sometimes we want to do pre-written ones because they have a little bit more consistency to them. A beginning, middle section, and an end, which is always appreciated. So my 3 friends, let's call them Thomas, Carl, and Amanda, have been playing together since 2004. We have been a group of 4 people that have played D&D twice a month for 13 years at this time. Thomas suggests that his friend, John, gets to try out D&D with us. Expand the group a little bit, since we have always been the same group for so many years. Now, I was reluctant about this. This was our time as friends to meet up and sit down with no computers in front of us. It was the time to play and socialize, and I was worried that adding one more person to the group would disrupt the fun. I let myself be persuaded, which was my bad. I told John at the time that he might want to check out some basic YouTube videos in regards of what class he wants to play. Or he can come over to my place and I would gladly teach him the ropes. I told him that since it was his first time role-playing and joining an adventure, he wouldn't have to get the player's handbook. I already have one that he could borrow during sessions. However, since I have paid for the campaign, Storm King's Thunder, the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster's Manual, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, Volo's Guide to Monsters, and that I would be printing his character sheet, that the very least he could do was pay for his dice. He asked me what dice cost, so I told him that the sci-fi bookstore, one in Gothenburg, sells a set of dice, a D20, D10, D8, D6, D4, D12, and a D100 for $5. And he immediately said,
$5 for dice is a lot of money, Marco.
I protest, and said that it really wasn't. If he could find dice somewhere cheaper, then he would be more than welcome to. I would also like to point out that this guy would also constantly brag about how well off he was with money, and so on. John then asked me,
Why can't I borrow a set of one of your dice?
To which I responded, Out of pure principle. I'm already letting you come off super cheap. I am the one who has spent hundreds of dollars on this. John gave me an aggravated look.
Well, I didn't ask you to spend hundreds of dollars.
I was taken aback by his comment. Did this guy really want to start an argument with me over dice worth $5? I confronted him with the following. Look, you do not have to tag along if you want to, but I am printing your sheet. I am loaning you my book, or books if you want to try out one of the expansions. You are not paying a single dime for the adventure. The least you could do is purchase your own dice.
Can I purchase some from you, but for a cheaper price?
I could have said yes. I possibly should have, but I didn't. No, I am not going to let you purchase dice off me. I want to keep my dice. I bought it with my own money, and I don't think you are in a position to haggle down prices for dice, since you constantly say you are so well off. John rose his voice at me.
Fine, I'll get some frickin' dice then.
After this discussion, I called Thomas and told him that I felt insecure about having John with us. I also told him about my encounter with him. Thomas reassured me that John was probably just having a bad day at work or something, and that he is nothing like this at all, and that he would probably apologize tomorrow for his rude behavior. The next day came, and I got a call from John. I picked up, and he said,
Look, man, I'm sorry for getting us off on the wrong foot yesterday. I was feeling infuriated and angry over some private stuff, and I guess I let out my frustration at you. It's not an excuse, merely an explanation. I'm so sorry.
I was moved by his apology, and I told him it was no biggie and laughed it off. I asked him if he had purchased the dice. He responded,
I found an app. The app rolls dice for me so I don't have to spend $5 on stupid dice.
I got a bit ticked off with this. I could have left it at that, but like I said, it was out of principle. So I said, No, dude, no digital dice. We use real dice at the table. It is out of principle. John then groaned, annoyed, and said,
Fine, frickin' dice.
That was the first incident. Now to the extra cream. 3 years later. I have been using both Fantasy Grounds for my online games with friends and real books for my in-real-life games. My friends Thomas, Carl, and Amanda have been trying to get me to try out D&D Beyond. The thing is, I can purchase one book twice. I can live with that cost, but 3 times? No, dude. Not going to happen. But we found a bundle, and they basically begged me to chime in on this, and I thought, you know what? If it makes life easier for these guys, I will do it. So I agreed to chime in on the payment for the sourcebook bundle for D&D Beyond, which would be on my account since I am the DM. They all agreed to this, so when the time came to pay for the thing, it was approximately $234. We also didn't want the Eberron books and whatnot. It equated to $46 and change per person. We had all agreed to chime in on this, and I placed the order, and $234 was deducted from my bank account. I asked for the group to write over the stated amount so we could all pay evenly. Suddenly, John chimed in and said,
I've changed my mind. I don't want to pay for the service, it's too expensive, and I don't think I need it as a player.
I was obviously a bit angered by this, since we now all of a sudden had to pay more. This time around, $58 each. And I got the money from everyone that was going to use it. John chimed in when the next session was about to start.
Oh, you got D&D Beyond? Can I log into one of your accounts, or can you share it with me as well?
Almost in unison, everybody went, No. John became annoyed and asked,
Well, why not?
Whereas I decided to speak on the matter. Look, you said you didn't want to pay for the service the moment we paid for it. You were all for it earlier, then you backed out. Now, when you see the rest of us use it, you want to use it without paying a single dime. No, dude. If you want to use it, you will have to pay us all the extra amount we paid. And then we are good, since you have then paid equally.
But you already have the program. I don't see the issue. All you have to do is share it with me.
Yes, that is true, but you haven't paid for it. Thus, you won't be using it. Seriously, am I not clear here?
Oh wow, I can't believe you guys. You're so freaking cheap and selfish. Really? So you're going to have me trail behind every combat scenario and inventory management over a few dollars? You guys are so freaking cheap. Screw you.
For pity's sake, you man-child. How dare you call us cheap? When you're the one expecting to be using something for free, when we had to pay extra, because you backed out when the purchase was made. No, screw you. Get out. You're no longer welcome here. I've had it with you.
You can't just throw me out. I spent money on dice. And I bought a player's handbook for myself to make things easier.
Congratulations. Go torture somebody else's group. We have all paid way more than you have, and you're not worth the headache. Get out. So John was tossed out of my home, never to be seen again. A little bit down the road, the OP had actually added in an edit section with a little bit more information, and that is following here. Some more context has been added further down. I had a user be confused about the entire story, so I will copy-paste my comment in regards about the 3-year gap and so on. It is hard for me to properly portray the issue of what happened in the first story. I agree I should not have forced him to pay to play D&D. I didn't, however. He could have chosen not to tag along. What I am getting at is this guy was constantly bragging about how well off he was with cash, but he went on a holy crusade over $5. However, I will take some accountability that I might have seemed tense at first for letting in another player into our group. However, this was during private conversations between the players and I. I let him in there in the end with the mindset of that a new person would only freshen the D&D experience in the end. And as I have said, and I stand by my point, I was printing his sheets. He did not have a printer. Ink costs a lot. I also lent him my PHB. He had full access to everything. I let him borrow a mini for his character. I had everything laid out for free for this guy. Normally I and the group would chime in and split the costs for a campaign we all wanted to play that was pre-written. He did not have to do this. It was out of pure principle that he would at the very least bring his own dice. I will not back down from this. There is nothing wrong with that principle. However, as for the 3-year gap, nothing of importance happened during those 3 years. We played, he got a player's handbook after playing for 2.5 years. No drama. He'd create a lot of murder hobo characters in the beginning, but the party would just shun those away in the end. He learned, and we did actually have a lot of fun role-playing together. At one point, we had a party celebrating me getting a promotion at my job, and my friend asked me about how much I earn now with my new position. So I let them know what my raise was. And John started laughing mockingly and saying,
That is crap all when it comes to money. I earn this much monthly.
He would try to outshine everyone when it came to money. However, when it came to investing it into the group that he was playing with every other Sunday, he was very reluctant. But he always wanted to tag along. That is the 3-year gap for you. Nothing of importance. Well, guys, the OP actually left a link to a video he made in response to some criticisms he received from this story. I will leave a link to that particular video in the YouTube cards at the top right and in the description. But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.